Do you want me to play the intro on my phone?
Fuck yeah. Do. Hey, it's a yes. It's a cold open here on the Monday Night War retrospective. Thank you all for tuning in. My computer's moving a little slow, a little sloppy tonight, so I don't want to share any video files and freeze everything up and watch it all just go to hell again. Damn it. What's up, everybody? It's great to see you. Thank you for joining us for another week here on the Monday Night War retrospective. What we're doing tonight, we're going to be covering two go-home shows. First, the go-home show for WCW Uncensored 1996. Then the very next week, and man, I miss these days in wrestling, like two pay-per-views back to back. Usually, one would be earlier in the month, maybe the second week in the month, and the other one would be the last weekend in the month, and they kind of vie for that last weekend position. But yeah, good times. But this month we're getting just back-to-back weekends. So we go home for WCW Uncensored, then we'll check out the results from there. We also have the last two Raws before WrestleMania 12, the 60-minute Iron Man match, Bret versus Shawn for the WWF Championship, and we're going to talk about WrestleMania 12 a little bit because I do have some gripes with that Iron Man match, and it's something I've seen before, but watching it back this last time, just something didn't sit right with me about it, so we'll talk about that here in a little while. Hail the Parrot Head, hail the People's Nose, and speaking of the People's Nose, we've got Mr. Etep Wokuian down there in the corner because I'm too lazy to rearrange the tiles.
What's up, everybody? It is I, Etep Wokuian, right here, ready to talk some wrestling. I was one show away from completing all my homework this week, so this is the point where I'd play the Steiner math clip. But yeah, so I was 75% done with my my homework assignment for the week. What's up, guys? I didn't get to watch. I was gonna watch WrestleMania in Uncensored over the course of this week, though. Just for shits and giggles because they're two big shows.
Yeah.
I shared the tail of the tape, so I mean, that way it's just got the matches where you compare everything I did for both you guys, just because. I like busted it all out, Guinea, just like a big old nut in your face, because that's just the way you go, man. Like I was like, I'm hitting the pay-per-views, I'm hitting, the Raws, I'm hitting. Well, I mean, I always hit the poor Tony, dude. I feel so bad for Tony. I'm always like, these messages he gets, I'll be watching stuff and I'll send it to him. Like, I still got to watch that. And I always feel bad. And then he'll be watching it and then we're commenting back and forth. And then, of course, I'm usually in the chat, just blowing it up in the chat, too. So, yeah, man, I love this. Like, I thoroughly love going back and especially with you guys, with us all being close in age, because I remember when I watched it the first time and I felt the same way about WrestleMania 12. I'm like, that Iron Man match, I'm like, I've got more complaints now, or I'm just like, wait a minute. But again, that's later on and upcoming, and with Etep Wokuian having been a wrestler, like there's plenty of questions I planned on asking him, and of course a little bit of ribbon because hey, that's what we do here.
Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, that is the super fan, Mr. Pop Adam, up there in the Roddy Piper shirt. Nice shirt, by the way, man.
Thank
nice
you.
clown.
I figured, I'm a Piper fan, just like our boy Vinny is. I know Vinny's under the weather, so get well soon, brother. I've got a lot of shirts. Some are newer, some are older. I felt, we're gonna put the Piper shirt on because he did have his match too as well at WrestleMania 12. So yeah, I got to. And I mean, since poor Bret and Shawn just messed it up. I took their belt from both of them. So, they just suck that bad, but no, I love this, man. I love being a part of this, with everybody every week and rewatching this stuff and remembering it from when I watched it 20 plus years ago. So,
yes,
it's a blast.
Having some perspective behind it, knowing more of the backstage happenings and yeah.
And so we've got two indie, and I do want to say definitely because Draven also was an indie wrestler, so I don't want to knock.
Wow, I wouldn't go. Don't give me too much credit. Etep is way more qualified than I am.
But you still did it. Like Tony and I would have loved to, but diabetic and Tony with the issues that he had, like we never got the chance. Both you guys did. And I mean, I know the Etep went a little bit further, but still, man, you had the opportunity and got to do it.
If I really wanted it, I could have filleted Pat Patterson. I should have just swallowed my pride.
We were just a bunch of idiots in our backyard beating the shit out of each other. That's all. That's basically what we were.
Everything would be out of my teeth by now. And ladies and gentlemen, also last but not least, yes, he is the vampire of all fandoms. Mr. Cheeky Sparkles.
Hey guys, it's good to be here as always. Nice. I'm looking forward to talking wrestling. I didn't get a chance to watch an episode and a quarter because I was watching that before the show. But I did watch the 18th episodes last week, so I at least can talk about those.
That works, man. I gotta say, one of my favorite. I'll always say, as far as Goldberg goes, not a big fan. Not a big fan, but his match with Diamond Dallas Page at Halloween Havoc 1998 was a classic, and another really good Goldberg match for its time. I'm sure if I go back and watch it now, the wrestling will be sloppy, but it just had me in suspense. Was Goldberg defending the WCW World Title against Wolfpack Sting. That was
I don't remember that.
It was in later 1998. Before the DDP match, and pretty sure Sting got Goldberg in this Scorpion Deathlock, and then like Hogan came out, and see, WCW always had weird weapons, a flapjack, a spike, like weird shit. Like
I remember the flapjack.
yeah, and I think Sting got the old flapjack
from Stevie Ray. You mean the flapjack? The flapjack? Are you talking like his finishing move?
No, but I'm talking about like that little leather thing with a piece of metal.
Oh, the slapjack.
It's like a gag, like fucking thing.
Yeah. I was like, because Stevie Ray's finishing move was something like that. I was like, Stevie Ray had like the black pedigree.
Yes. And let me say,
it was.
Head, as far as WrestleMania 12 hype goes, easily the best promo went to Roddy Piper when he was when he came out to talk shit to Goldust, I think during the Go Home show. But I mean, just nobody was operating at that level in the WWF at this time. Kevin Nash, he's got a physical presence, Diesel, you know, but never the best promo. Same with Scott Hall. Shawn Michaels wasn't allowed to really be himself yet, you know, like he didn't really have that DX attitude, you know, he was more obnoxious, and I mean, Roddy Piper was just owning that fucking microphone. I'm like, man, see, this is what gets me excited for the show. So definitely.
Shawn was still finding himself a little bit too.
Yeah.
You remember, look at his journey to where we are right now. And, you know, him and Bret had fought for the Intercontinental Championship back a while back as well. And you've got that whole different Shawn Michael version, from the Rockers to early HBK to where he is now, to then, like you had mentioned, it's kind of like pre-DX, but you kind of see where it's going to go to. So yeah, I mean, with us having the knowledge that we have of wrestling, I completely agree.
And what's up to the lovely Sherry? Thank you for joining us.
Hey.
I think I saw Sherry over in the Laura Logan interview too, man. That was just amazing. I want to say, if you haven't seen it, go over to Supreme Heretics channel. Drew, he had Laura Logan join him, and I mean, that I'm a big fan of hers. She's got a wonderful opinion, and she's not afraid to share it. So for him to get her on the show, that's amazing, man. And it was cracking over there, and deservedly so. I saw RK Outpost over there participating, and yeah, that was something a lot of people wanted to see. So congratulations to Drew.
Yep.
And where should we start today, guys? We've got a little bit of Raw to talk about, a little bit of Nitro. WrestleMania 12, and then I've also got this article here, why 1996 was the most important year in wrestling history.
It absolutely was. Let's start with the 18th Raw.
We can do
Hey,
that.
Sherry. Because we started out on a high note. It's so funny. Okay, like looking back at Jake the Snake Roberts, that motherfucker did not look like a professional wrestler at all.
Oh,
At
no.
all.
No,
Oh,
yeah.
God. He looks like the guy I would chase away from the playground. You know what I mean? Like, he was working, and on the exact opposite end of that spectrum, he's working the opening match against the Bulldog.
Yes, and he looks like somebody. Okay, out here, they can't make you quit gambling. There are defibrillators in every casino because some people, they just won't sleep. They just gamble and gamble and gamble and sit at the machine. So after 24 hours, they have to come up and do a bit of a wellness check. Maybe suggest, hey, you maybe want to take a break, but people have heart attacks in casinos. Jake looks about like one of those people that have been in the casino for about 30 something hours at this point. He's lost a couple 10 grand. He's trying to win it back. And yeah, that the energy, the calories obtained from the free club sandwich the casino comped him 18 hours ago, that's dissipated.
I love the shirt though that hides the belly. I'd put down that it was funny because you got like Jake versus a very oiled up Bulldog,
Yes.
and I mean overall for his age, Jake looks about right. I kind of figured he'd look like if Etep were to get in the ring again, with the exception that Etep is in way better shape.
I was gonna say I still have at least 2 visible abs.
Yeah, bro. I mean, like I said, there's some ribbing, but I mean, like overall, the experience. You can see the experience on his face. I mean, not that Davey Boy's not experienced; those two guys are extremely experienced. But as Jake the Snake, for being how he was to how he is now, it'd be like if we were to get in a ring today, we'd both be like, oh, kind of more on that Jake the Snake side versus the oiled up Bulldog.
Well, Jake look at the Snake. Was getting baby oil all over his crack after that match.
They did
even after he showered.
Oh, he didn't. They didn't shower. Most of them don't shower after those shows, dude. They go. They change clothes. They take a horse bath, change clothes, and get right back in the car. Only the big timers that get the hotel rooms and airplanes, your top tier guys get the luxury of doing that. Most, it's different at the bigger arenas. They have showers like working indie shows, unless we get lucky.
High school auditorium, maybe. It might be against the law for a grown man to shower in there.
Yeah, well, it wasn't for Miss Jackie to blow Jerry Lawler and like 5 other dudes in Memphis, but that's another story altogether.
I wish I could do Lawler's laugh, just because that was the perfect time to do it. Real quick, before we get too far into this, this is WWF Raw from March 18th, 1996, emanating from San Antonio, Texas, with a rating of 2.9, making it the weekly loser 2 weeks before WrestleMania, but it is the go-home show for WCW's pay-per-view. But this is a pretty massive loss. Number one, 2.9 is again, the audience is growing. If that's the losing rating, that's pretty good. But they did lose this week by 0.7 ratings points, almost a full point there. So they're starting to fall behind a bit in these ratings. And like Etep and Superfan were saying, the show started cold opening. We got British Bulldog defeating, maybe the second week was the cold opening. Either way, British Bulldog defeating Jake the Snake Roberts via countout when Jake Roberts hits a nasty DDT on Bulldog. Nobody does the DDT like Mr. Roberts. But Jim Cornette breaks up the pinfall, causing Jake to take Damien out and chase Cornette up the ramp.
Dude, Cornette was awesome during that whole match, though, doing his job and interfering and being Cornette. Dude, it was like, wow, it was beautiful. Especially against a guy the size of the Bulldog. That was a big mofo, man. He was huge.
This is so difficult for me because I hate Jim Cornette so much as a person.
But he's good at what he does.
He is. I know, and it's separating the art from the artist. But yeah, he was the quintessential heel manager, pretty much his entire from the Rock and Roll Express or the Freebirds, not Freebirds, the Midnight Express. I'm sorry, the Midnight Express to all these randos he messaged in the Fed later in his career before he went behind the scenes and was doing just the writing. He was so good as a heel. So just that swarmy heel manager.
Yep. And, I got to say, I'm blocked by one celebrity on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
That is Jim Cornette.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. I couldn't be more proud. It's because he is screaming at everyone one night to go to drdeath.com, get their candles. And I told him I didn't want to go to drdeath.com.
Who?
I said that's the same day I got blocked, Tony.
Yeah.
I listened to some of his takes on AEW, and their
He's
direction.
Not a fan, right?
He likes some of their newer, some of the last couple things that they did. He likes, like he's hit or miss. It's hit or miss when it comes to AEW with him.
Yeah. I get
it wasn't before.
No, he wasn't. But recently, he's been coming around to some of like the Punk stuff and like the MJF Punk promo thing that they did, and a bunch of that stuff. He's been singing somewhat high praise, not like super high praise, but he's been
they're stepping up their game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we get another one of these shit. Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart hype packages.
Those montages.
Oh, those vignettes.
And it's like, look, for the main event of WrestleMania, I mean, I guess they're trying to give it a real, like, sports kind of feel, but it's not working. Like, Jose Lothario is boring. It's not exciting to see him. Mm-hmm. And, this is, like, been mostly, like, it's not like modern day wrestling or wrestling entering the Attitude Era. Like, we're not getting the massive in-ring promos where Shawn is getting in Bret's face and I'm going to take that from you. And so they're just doing these like backstage little hype packages and it's not good. And, to come to think of it, they were live in San Antonio a few weeks ago and I was complaining then that they didn't bring Shawn out in front of the live crowd. But now we have all these taped episodes and Shawn hasn't been out in front of the crowd or on TV except for in backstage segments for weeks now. And I only noticed that because they will bring him out the week before WrestleMania. But it's like, 4 episodes there in San Antonio. And we finally see the number one contender going into WrestleMania once. And other than that, this is what we're getting, these hype packages. It just shows Shawn, running up and down stairs, exercising, training. Then you'll go to the dungeon in Montreal or wherever, and Bret Hart's training there. And that's been the hype for this match. It's I gotta say, WCW did a better job hyping Uncensored, in my opinion.
Well, if you notice on both broadcasts, I mean, they really drive the fact home that, hey, WrestleMania is the best value in sports entertainment. Like
ask for WrestleMania by name.
Yeah, ask for it by name. You don't want to get the other guys.
I'm trying to put Stephanie through college.
I've got to get the $1 billion princess implants, so Test will fuck her. I don't know.
Goddamn.
But they did though. Like they went overboard with that shit. It's like, are you that worried that people aren't going to watch it? And Uncensored had, what was it? As the dog goes nuts. Uncensored had like 12 matches.
They were actually the same amount of matches, but they were better.
It had 12, and you had fucking WrestleMania had 7.
But that is because one of them's an hour too.
Yep.
But yeah, that undercard went by quick, knowing that an hour-long match is coming up. We get an Ultimate Warrior package. First, no. Excuse me.
I don't want an Ultimate Warrior package.
we get a match in between the hype packages here. The Intercontinental Champion Goldust with Marlena defeats Rakishi Fatou with the curtain call. Roddy Piper calls in during this match and hypes up his backlot brawl with Goldust at WrestleMania. More problematic speech, more homophobic slurs thrown Goldust's way, but it was a different time.
I did it for the Rock.
Which I'm surprised it's on Peacock because didn't they take like him doing blackface and like a bunch of other stuff off of there?
I don't know if they took the Bad News Brown match.
I think they did, from what I remember hearing.
Triple H, Booker T, WrestleMania 19.
But this episode is still on there, so it's like, either take it all or you keep it all. Like
they forgot about it. That's what it was. They forgot.
Tony, they took Black News Brown off that bad. They took him off like it was a bag of fentanyl.
That's how you get him off. Just put that shit like a Skittles.
Around Asian wires, you gotta watch it.
So we get an Ultimate Warrior hype package now of him. It's funny, the hype package they decided to show this week was him kicking Macho Man's ass up and down the ring at WrestleMania, like showing we got the talent here in WWF. But yeah, it's hyping up Warriors match against Triple H at WrestleMania. And then we get a recap of WWF Superstars over the weekend where, if you remember last week, it ended with Yokozuna getting jumped by the Cornette boys, Owen, Bulldog, and Vader. And then Ahmed Johnson and Jake the Snake ran out to help. They ended up getting their asses kicked, and then Yokozuna popped up and saved the people doing the saving. Well, Jake the Snake, Ahmed Johnson, and Yokozuna challenge Owen, Bulldog, and Vader to a 6-man tag at WrestleMania. So in the ring are the heels, and Cornette does the talking, and make a long story short, he accepts their challenge. Then the baby faces appear on the Titantron and told Cornette he should have read the fine print because if they win, Yokozuna gets 3 minutes alone with Jim Cornette.
Yeah, baby.
And they show him smashing the Cornette like dummy thing or whatever.
Yes.
On my notes, I had that listed as McMahon with Corny, Vader, Nugget, and I want my title shot.
Nice. Dude, nice.
That's what I just called Bulldog.
Wait till we get to WCW because I got some good ones for you.
I said Owen. I always refer to Owen as Nugget, and Bulldog from here on out is just I want my title shot.
What's my title shot? Well, I mean, I want my title shot. Goldust versus Fatou. I mean, like I was like, really?
I was laughing. I said text Tony. I was like, that's Rakishi.
Yeah, I'm like, dude,
no ass back then.
He didn't. Like, he didn't have a dump truck ass yet.
And hail to Johnny Cage, hail to Mr. Red Gaze. It's great to see you both. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday evening.
Oh, yeah. I always call him Almond Johnson. It's not. It's just because if he just stuck with the almonds, he wouldn't have got so fat. But because he looks like Mabel now.
Ahmed Johnson.
Yeah.
Oof.
Almond Hogan.
I never was an Ahmed Johnson fan. I was like, this dude has like he was like the black. Boring. He was like the Black Paul Roma. Had a great physique, but like a shit worker. Like no personality. Like
you mean he didn't like Harlem Heat 2000?
No.
It's bad enough when he was in the Nation. When they put him in the Nation, that was horrible.
That's like he didn't even make sense in the Nation. But like he's black. He's black. Put him in there.
And let me tell you, that's less than a year away. Less than a year away. Are we going to get Farouk and Ahmed?
Well, we got to get the Public Enemy first, though, because Public Enemy is how they start the goddamn things. They stole their whole gimmick.
Yeah.
Vince is like, we got these 2 white guys doing a thing called the Nation of Domination. Let's bring them in, take the gimmick, and shit can them.
In there.
Yes.
I like it, though. I like it. The fact that you knew that information and shared it with us made it awesome. Because I mean, we know how to get you going. You know that. We know your buttons. But I mean, the fact that you share this good stuff though with the good people and all of it. You know, man, it makes this so much fun. Like Cornette saying they're going to make cream wheat out of all of them in the
Oh,
6
yeah.
Like,
they're going to make
dying.
Cream of wheat.
Cream of wheat.
I was like, oh, Cornette, you couldn't come up with anything better than that. Ahmed Johnson was like just he's like I don't know, he was just boring. Like I never was like I mean like yeah, I respect the guy, but like I was never a fan of his. He was just like, oh my God, Ahmed Johnson, it's time to get up and change the channel or something. You know what I mean? He was just like one of those guys, like nothing. He was a charisma void.
Gaze, I hope if that's the case that it's fiber rich. I know I have me a nice bowl of frosted mini wheats every night, and my butthole thanks me in the morning.
Take your Geritol.
I'm that prune juice, bro. That prune juice will save you.
I'm a Raisin Bran Crunch guy. Sorry.
I love that's what I was doing before frosted mini wheats. It just has more fiber in the mini wheats. I fucking love Raisin Bran.
I can destroy
Crunch.
a box of that in like one sitting.
No shit.
When they had the frosted mini wheats with the raisins in the middle, dude, that was the bomb.
I haven't tried, man.
I mixed the honey bunches of oats with the freaking Raisin Bran Crunch. Yeah.
That sounds good.
I like my cereal saturated. Everyone's like, eat your cereal before it gets soggy. It's like, that's when it's good.
I hate it soggy.
No,
that's why I get Raisin Bran Crunch. That's why I get Raisin Bran Crunch, because it doesn't get soggy in milk.
It depends on the cereal.
It gets softer though. Like it doesn't have to be fall apart soggy.
Yeah.
But I like it a little softer. Like my fucking mini wheats.
That's what she said.
My mini wheats, I'll let them soak for a little bit, and then they start getting fucking all weighted down and just, oh man, it's bomb.
Those are better when they have milk in them though, because it's like, especially the frosted mini wheats.
Yep.
Because it softens them up just enough. But like if you like, okay, Cookie Crisp is another one that's nice. You know, that one's good. But I'm trying to think. Yeah, because Captain Crunch, my cereal does not cut the roof of your mouth. That son of a bitch is spreading lies about me. But you know, Captain Crunch has to get a little, because that shit will you will die.
Yeah,
you will die of like sepsis from eating Captain Crunch. You will get infections.
Could you imagine eating grape nuts and not letting them get soggy?
Speaking of Captain Crunch, they have a holiday mix of popcorn with the crunch berries in it. It's pretty damn good.
Grape nuts is like eating cat litter.
True that, but I'm just, I'm trying to think of crazy cereal that you would have to kind of let it. I mean, even the puffed wheat stuff, I can't think of the name of it. Honey Smacks. Like that shit nowadays, it's like, like I love corn pops, man. I know I'm fucking like old as shit, but
hey, corn pop was a bad dude.
So
I got hairy legs.
Mr. Red Gaze, I just want to let you know that so was Rihanna until she told Chris Brown she had an STD.
God damn.
So, yes. Back to the show. So we get another clip. A lot of highlights, hype packages, clips in this because it's like their fucking third or fourth week in San Antonio. They've been at this arena for like 6 hours now. We get another clip of Sunday's house show, and it reveals Diesel more or less. He's been going through a lot of psychological stuff with the Undertaker lately. He's frustrated. His best friend eliminated him from the Royal Rumble, Shawn Michaels, and he went on to win it. So Diesel's had a rough few months, and on top of all this, he had lost the WWF Championship to Bret Hart late last year. He snapped and ended up snapping on his best friend, Shawn Michaels, and beating the hell out of him until, of all people, Bret Hart comes out and actually makes the save. Fucking save Shawn Michaels from an ass beating. And I don't know how familiar you guys are with these people, but Shawn ain't the biggest guy, and Diesel's bigger than the Undertaker. He's a fucking unit. So he beat Shawn down pretty good. So Diesel then has a match against Barry Horowitz.
That's horrible wit.
Yeah, well, how else are you gonna hype WrestleMania? You've got Diesel versus Taker, throw him in the ring with Barry Horowitz.
Hey, I got no idea. Put that big fella in there with the Jew and let him beat the hell out of him. That'll fucking pop the crowd bad.
I mean, I even would have rather seen Dr. Yankum, DDS, Kane as DDS against Diesel than
Nash.
Barry Horowitz.
I don't even think Nash hit him with the power bomb to finish. Didn't he finish it with like a short arm clothesline or something stupid? Because damn you, Undertaker! Pallbearer came down with the casket.
Yeah.
And the Taker was in it. Yeah.
Mind games throughout this match. And fucking Diesel won this match, but he was concerned the entire time because, again, Pallbearer came down. He put a casket by ringside.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got to look that up now. I think it's a wax figure. But
it's not.
Diesel went.
This is where taping the show pays dividends.
Are you sure? Because how would the audience react to that?
I don't know, but that's I remember seeing it. It's because they taped it. They taped him in the casket and then
added it later.
Yep.
See, how does that work?
Well, I've been at house shows where they'd say stuff and tell you like when what was his name? Aldo Montoya would come out.
Aldo Montoya, fucking just incredible.
Yep. So I mean that they would do stuff, or like when Jericho would do his interview in the ring when I was in Indy, like they would go to commercial and then they would kind of explain what was about to happen and then they would do it. So maybe they we're talking, this was 2016
and
I'm talking about. So I bet back then especially, I mean, maybe they played the video, but I doubt it.
I thought Draven's right on that. And I thought it was a wax figure and it just looked good because his eyes were closed.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the eyes that fuck up a wax figure because there's no life in it,
Yeah.
What, comparing Rihanna to poop? Okay, it's accurate.
It checks out. The science checks out. Trust the science.
And the Steiner math. It always works out.
That was a cool moment in Raw, though. Diesel's worried. He grabs a wrench from the commentator's booth. He cautiously walks towards the casket. He opens it up, and it's him laying in the casket. Freaks him out. He kind of walks off, checking his back every couple steps, and freaked the fuck out. And then our next match is Bret Hart versus Chief Running Water.
Yeah. Tommy Tonka. Yeah. But don't forget the Slam of the Week. Don't forget the Slam of the Week that's brought to you. Oh, no, it's not brought to you by. That's the other one.
Was it Mark
You got Mark Henry slamming the King Jerry Lawler. I'm sorry. I love that bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Mark Henry. It's basically his first interaction in the WWF. And in about 16 years from now, they'll push him.
He grabbed Jerry the King by his nuts in his fucking throat and gorilla pressed him, and his mullet flailed a boot, and that was it.
You know who Tony Khan needs to sign into AEW?
Who?
The Hand.
The hand that was given birth to. You're my father. Hell yeah. I say yes. Because and then they did the plug for Raw next week, which it looks like a pretty good Raw next week as well, and it's like, it's just all the plugging, giggity. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, when we're still working with 45 minutes, basically.
They do a lot of the,
a lot of like production stuff. And so, speaking of that, here we are at our main event, the last match of the night on Raw. WWF champion Bret Hart defeats Tatanka with a roll-up after the 1-2-3 kid attempted to interfere. It was botched, and Bret just rolled Tatanka up. Why not make that motherfucker tap out? I don't get it.
He should have had him. He should have beat him with the sharpshooter.
He's pretty thick, though. I mean, like when you compare their body sizes, because Bret was a hell of a wrestler, and he looked good. He looked the part. When you look at how thick he is, maybe it was just one of those. Yeah, you're such a piece of shit. I'm gonna roll you up.
Yeah,
you don't get to tap.
What did you guys? This was an intense billionaire Ted skit, riffing on A Few Good Men.
Good men.
But I mean, that there wasn't even really comedy to it. That shit was just intense. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're sitting in like the tribunal type setting.
Yep.
And just going after Ted. And they were talking about America's run by our capitalist society is run by a few billionaires.
Yeah.
They, and it was like shit that's applicable to today.
Yeah, like I sent you that clip at the very end, where they're talking about write your congressman. I'm like, shit, that's Disney today, bro.
Vince
Like, legitimately, you're making a monopoly. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
I just think there's people that are like, Disney's not a monopoly, you bigots.
So, next up, we have WCW Monday Nitro from the same date, March 18th, 1996, emanating from Chattanooga, Tennessee. The weekly winner with a 3.6 compared to Raw's 2.9. And
real quick, Tony, though, I got to say the one line I love where he's like, deep down, you want me to own everything. You need me to own everything. I'm sorry, dude, like that. And I know you're going to, but like that had me like I stopped and I just died laughing because it's just it was so spot on. But yeah,
and it's relevant today too, which is great.
There's Vince. Oh, I own wrestling. Ha ha. Take that, billionaire Ted.
Were there any dark matches from this week's episode, Etep?
Well, let me look here. First of all, that's racist, and second of all, I want you to denounce white supremacy. No, there was actually no dark matches from this week on Raw.
What about Caramel Brown matches?
There was a Caramel Brown versus a high yellow match. I think he was Jamaican.
Racist.
Back to you, Tony.
San Franciscan. So the program begins in absolute chaos. This was a cold opening.
Yeah.
Nitro comes on the air. Giant and Loch Ness are brawling down the entrance ramp while Jimmy Hart's following and antagonizing and talking trash to Loch Ness. And the thing is, Luger was actually scheduled to wrestle Loch Ness right now. So
for the TV championship, Stupid Face. Yeah, Stupid Face is coming out.
So while they're fighting each other, Luger's music hits. He walks down the ramp, right past them, doing his flex and normal walk to the ring like they weren't even there.
Yep.
Gets in the ring. For some reason, the ref called for the bell for the match to start. Like, why? Usually you have to have both opponents in the ring, but it's WCW. So
the Giant's still beating the shit out of Fat Boy.
Yeah, they're still halfway up the ramp, and the ref's like, let's start this match. And then he counts Loch Ness out, obviously. And Luger, now, it was a bit of a break in wrestling continuity, but it was funny to see Lex Luger celebrate like it was a hard-fought victory.
Yep.
And he's just, is pre-Kurt Angle type behavior, He's jumping around and acting like he just won this killer match, and he celebrates.
He went up to the commentary tables, like trying to get Mongo to high five him.
Yes,
the fact he was so proud that was the quickest television title shot ever. So the bell rings, he counts to 10, so that's what 11 seconds. An 11-second. So Lex was an 11-second man. No wonder Elizabeth, OD'd.
Didn't Jimmy Hart run up and like straddle hug him?
Yeah.
And then they like look at each other like, oh shit.
And now I want some Raisin Bran Crunch. Mm-hmm. So after a commercial break, Tony Schiavone is by the entrance ramp. All the chaos is subsided. They've got Giant Loch Ness in the back now. And Schiavone, he announces the Mega Powers, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Randy Savage. They make their way out. Every time Hogan talks, it's a whole lot of nothing. He says the place is on fire with Macho Mania and Hulkamania. To a very, very mixed reaction from the crowd. A lot of boos. And for no reason. I mean, for a reason, but it's not like he went out there and did anything. He was just trying to hype up the crowd, and they were fucking booing Hogan. A lot of people. So Hogan and Savage talk about their recent 6-man lumberjack strap match that took place last week on Nitro. And they have a Texas Tornado match tonight against the same opponents, or against Flair and Sullivan.
Taskmaster.
Yeah. Yep. So the Steiner brothers come out. This is so weird because, yeah, we'll get to that. The Steiner brothers defeat Public Enemy with the Super Steiner drop after Rocco Rock. He puts himself through a table attempting to drive Rick Steiner through it. Rick gets up, moves. Rocco Rock fucked himself up, and that was basically the end of the match. You know, the Steiners had it from that point.
It was a decent match.
After they lost last week, though, with Road Warriors,
I know
it was kind of nice to see the Steiners win. Although, again, as you guys pointed out, last week's match, that was just a really weird way to go. Which, and of course, they'll come around when they wrestle again this week. You know, with the pad and whatnot, with the cheating. But it's just like, man, you know, it was a good match. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, I think it'd have been funnier if it was Scott on the table because he'd have forgotten to get off. But you know, it's okay.
He would have been on the table doing math.
Yeah.
So
22 and a third percent, and I'm a Steiner fan, man. I mean, it's just one of those. I don't care. You know, he's Captain Steroid. He just is.
So, in more of Nitro's genius booking, they're about to hand Arn Anderson his first singles loss on Nitro, but you won't know that till later on in the episode, way after this match, because, you know, why give it any stakes?
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Man, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize Arn Anderson was undefeated, and it was exactly. Remember when I sent you that video? Etep of him kneeing Arn Anderson in the head and just kind of pinned him.
Yep.
That was Arn Anderson's first Nitro defeat as far as singles, and he's beaten Hulk Hogan twice on Nitro. He's done some notable shit, and they didn't even like hype that up at all, and they kind of should have. But yeah, the Booty Man defeats Arn Anderson. So what happens is Kimberly Page is all infatuated with Booty Man, and
Booty doll, baby.
Booty Man's gonna be wrestling Diamond Dallas Page at Uncensored. She comes out again this week just completely infatuated, but Woman, who was with Arn Anderson, confronts Kimberly, and Booty Man goes to get in between. Arn Anderson attempts to take advantage of the distraction and gets Booty Man back over to the ring, rolls him in. But by the time Arn starts getting in the ring, Booty Man just knees him in his fucking fat, bald head.
Right in the dome.
And pinned him.
Do you guys ever feel that the Booty Man was why we lost out on so much Disco Inferno? Because he feels like a wannabe Disco Inferno a little bit to me.
I think the Booty Man begat the Disco Inferno character fully. After the best thing Brutus Beefcake did after he was the barber was become the disciple.
Yeah. I agree. I do.
But yeah, it's like Ultimate Warrior and Disco Inferno were like thrown into a Rape-O-Matic 3000 including Ultimate Warrior and Disco, and we got
a Rape-O-Matic.
They got in a fight with a lawnmower. That's why there's like the cutouts on the back of his shorts and shit.
It's it's actually it's a Cronenbergian amalgamation is what they are. It's like Cronenberg designed a wrestler, and he took the Ultimate Warrior and the Renegade, and who else did you say?
Yeah, it's Ultimate Warrior and Disco,
and throw the Renegade in there. And here's
could it be they found a pair of Savage's tights and shirts, and that's mixed in there too?
They're like, here, just put this on and go out and act like Marty Jannetty.
Yeah, no shit. So, next up, we get the Road Warriors. They defeat the Nasty Boys when Animal nails Brian Knobbs with his elbow pad. During the match, the Steiners run out and brawl with both the Road. During the match, after the match, the Steiners run out and brawl with both the Road Warriors and the Nasty Boys. So it's like you wouldn't even know the Road Warriors were gonna wrestle Sting and Luger at the pay-per-view, right? Like they kind of like started hyping that up and then dropped it. So
remember, Luger's out. Remember, Luger can't participate because of whatever contract, blah 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 blah. So it's like Sting's stuck by himself and a mystery partner.
Okay.
Well, the worst thing is they're basically, I mean, the Road Warriors are going over in these matches, but the way that like having the Road Warriors go over dirty like that when they're clearly not the heels, like the Nasty Boys ain't the baby faces in this fucking match. Like,
no,
like the way in Animal should have straight up like at least a power slam or something. Like, it wasn't even like a reversal. Like, say if Jerry Sags had the gimmick in Animal, the rest backs turn and Animal says screw it, kicks him in the nuts. He drops it, catches it, hits him with the gimmick, throws it out. Then the ref turns around, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that made, but just like him just straight going dirty off the bat, like, you know what I mean? It didn't. I don't know, because they were supposed to be the faces, and that I didn't like that booking right there. I think and that was Kevin Sullivan booking that.
2 weeks now we've had that too, mind you.
Yep.
Back to back. So yeah, it was kind of like, all right. And I don't know if it was because of the Chicago street fight that's upcoming that they kind of did that kind of crap. But I am 110% with you, man. It's just like, no, especially when we had Steiner's versus,
Yeah.
I didn't, LOD, Road Wars, what, when you've got the 4 of them in the ring, 2 teams of baby faces, I didn't get last week's, and I still didn't get this. Even with the Nasties, I mean, those were big guys too. Don't get me wrong, Nasties are big, and so when you put them up against the Road Warriors, that looks like a legit decent match.
There was a lot of tag team wrestling on this card, which I like to see. There's what the main, semi-main, your second match is tag, and you have three out of your 5 matches are tag gimmicks.
Yeah.
Back when tag wrestling was a thing.
Yep.
Bischoff basically is going to kill that in the promotion eventually. So, our main event, it's a Texas Tornado match where Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage defeat Ric Flair and Kevin Sullivan with Woman and Miss Elizabeth via DQ. When Arn Anderson runs out, Hogan hit the big boot on Flair and was going to leg drop him again just like last week, and as he bounces off the rope to leg drop, Arn Anderson grabs Hogan's leg. Then he goes around and starts attacking Randy Savage on the other side of the ring with Kevin Sullivan and Brian Pillman, who's returning from ECW where he developed his loose cannon gimmick. Etep and I were wrong. We thought he was gone from WCW, and so for me, that was a true surprise when Pillman was back out there.
It was nice. Back. It was nice to see you guys be wrong too. I mean, not that it happens a lot, but I was sitting there watching it going, oh, I was like, yeah. And then not to mention the other mystery guest that appears out of nowhere.
Dr. Fauci and Z Gangster. I meant the Ultimate Solution and Z Gangster.
And Zeus / Z Gangster. Yep.
I have a problem with the Ultimate Solution. that name.
So do 6 million other people.
Yeah, I was like, I remember that as a kid, like Ultimate, just knowing history. I heard that, I was like, ooh.
Because we remember looking at that dude thinking, is he the warlord from back in the day, like back in the mid 80s?
Ted Turner must have named him.
Because honestly, and the only reason I remember this in Jeep Swenson's time in WCW, because it's so obscure, is because literally I was a sophomore in high school at this point, because this is March of '96. I was a sophomore in high school, and in my U.S. history class, we had this woman who's a Holocaust survivor speak. Like literally the week before this, I remember this woman, and I the only reason, like I said, I remember crazy shit like this from school is because we had this Holocaust survivor speak, and then on Nitro the next week I'm sitting around watching this with my friends, and the Ultimate Solution, you're like,
hey, you need to do better.
I mean, even as a kid, I'm like, oh.
I think as a kid, I'd be like, because I mean, I got a few years on you, so I'd already graduated a couple years prior. But I'd have been like, is this guy got a kid in my class, or is he in my class?
Like, I kind of laughed, but I was like, what? Wait,
Solution.
Can they do that?
Is this the episode where Pillman is like on the outside and Bischoff comes down and like talks to him, or is that the episode?
Is
I think
that
that
Bischoff? Bischoff took off his headset, but I must have missed him
and went
talking
down, and he's like talking to like, and then you see Pillman like on the outs, like in the crowd, sort of.
Yeah,
he's
because
like motioning, and then they don't really mention it the rest of the show.
I know, because after this, the heels get the baby faces out of the ring, and Flair, Hart, Anderson, Sullivan, Z Gangsta, and the Solution cut a final go home promo for Sunday Night's Uncensored. But Pillman isn't around after that. I was kind of wondering why they did that. I remember Bischoff taking off his headset, and then I must have just spaced it as I finished out the show.
Well, I rewound because I'm like, what the fuck? Who is he talking about in the crowd? So I rewound and I was like, oh, what the fuck's Pillman doing there? And then they don't acknowledge it the rest. So I was like, was he like on the outs or what? I don't know.
He's definitely Bischoff isn't happy with Pillman right now, and he's made a few comments on the air about it. So maybe he wasn't supposed to be down there. Either way, that threw me for a loop seeing him there, because I thought he was done with WCW.
But I love the plastic chair when they beat each other with the plastic chair.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So the Horsemen are supposed to be on the same side as, the
Dungeon of Doom.
The Dungeon of Doom. And fucking Pillman just cracked Kevin Sullivan with that chair. Well, they had legit heat, though. I mean, you saw that last tag match when the Horsemen were working the dungeon, when Pillman was in there with Sullivan. That turned into a shoot. Like they were, and Sullivan was getting over on him too, because Sullivan's crafty little shit. But yeah, that was a shoot, and I'm watching that going, man, like Pillman I was like, they're supposed to be on the same team. He just ran over and hit Kevin Sullivan in the head with that fucking chair. And it was one of those goddamn plastic.
Yeah, it wasn't a folding one.
It was, killed me. Not a folding metal chair.
Yeah,
plastic school chair from back in the day. Oh, I'm sorry, man. That shit makes me. It'd be like the old school wooden chairs, because you'd hit somebody with that and it would just shatter. But those plastic chairs, I'm sorry, that shit just always makes me giggle and laugh. It's just so funny. I can't help it, man. And I know you said that they won, Tony, but I can see why. We had more wrestling in WCW this week than we did Raw.
Yeah, and the storylines were more compelling. They were. Like, people remember the Iron Man match, and that kind of went down in the annals of history. But for watching it play out in real time, I mean, there wasn't much memorable in the lead up to that WrestleMania, and there wasn't much memorable. Now, I thought the Diesel Undertaker match was pretty good, but there's not much remembered from WrestleMania 12 besides the Iron Man match.
I mean, when you talk about WrestleMania 12, the lead up to it, I think the biggest thing was when Taker came through the bottom of the ring and grabbed Diesel and pulled him down, which is what, 3-4 weeks prior. Maybe three weeks prior it was. I can't remember now, but it's been within the last.
I think it was at the pay-per-view.
The previous pay-per-view. So about a month. So because it was when he was taking on Bret. You're right. But yeah, I mean, it's literally like when I think of it, it's like, all right, we've got matches in WrestleMania, but it definitely isn't a strong WrestleMania in the aspect that the biggest thing remembered, other than for me, the Piper fight, the Undertaker fight, and then of course the Iron Man match, even though we have a 6-man tag along with, some other stuff too. But yeah, I don't know, man. I still feel that WCW definitely was the winner, definitely had better matches, and definitely made more sense minus the plastic chair.
Yes,
definitely.
Hate for the plastic chair.
So we're going to move on to week March 25th, 1996. WWF Raw again from San Antonio, and again, the weekly loser. Now, here's what kind of gets me. They got a 2.9 last week. This week, leading into WrestleMania, they got a 2.8.
Damn.
Wow.
you'd expect this to be a little higher, than the week before, but Raw's on the wrong trajectory right now.
Even with these matches that we got too, it kind of, because the opening that we're about to talk about, that kind of threw me for a loop. I mean, I'm not saying that this was a great Raw, but to hear what you just said, I would have figured it would have still been at least a 2.9 or a 3.0 show. Yeah. I mean, I still think WCW kicked their ass this week as well. But yeah, that's
Yeah, losing ratings going into their biggest show of the year. And no intro on this Raw. We begin with Shawn Michaels making his way down to the ring to take on Marty Jannetty's new rocker buddy, Leif Cassidy.
And AKA Bob Holly.
Yeah, I think Bob Holly's Bob Sparkplug.
Wait, he's Sparkplug. Wait, yeah.
He's Sparkplug, yeah. Is it Leif or Leap Cassidy?
It's Leaf.
Okay. I thought it was Leap. I'm like, because he leaps around a lot. But
Shawn Michaels gets into the ring and Leif Cassidy is acting starstruck and like avidly shaking his hand before their match. And
Al Snow.
Yeah, Al Snow.
Al Snow. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. I knew he looked familiar.
It's Al. I was saving it because like Tony and I are huge Al Snow fans. Yeah. Even when he was Avatar.
Yes.
Oh God, I forgot about that shite gimmick.
Dude, I don't care, man. Al with the head though, man. That's the whole. That's why when I did the deaf head on the Joker back here, I did it backwards, and I was doing it anyway. And when I said something about Al Snow, Tony shared with me that he was an Al Snow fan too. And I'm like, oh, we bonded instantly. I was like, yep. I was like, okay, my brother.
Buddy I used to wrestle was like his gimmick was like him, but instead of a head, it was a shoe. So he's like, everybody got shoe, and then he'd fucking hit people in the head with a shoe.
Oh yeah, hey, why not? I thought it was interesting that Bret came out for commentating for this match. By the way, too, like that was That's why I was kind of surprised. I am and I'm not, but surprised that the rating was that low pre WrestleMania. Like that's crazy.
But they even had spoilers back then, and all this shit is pre-taped. Like the go-home show to WrestleMania is taped weeks in advance. That kind of sucks. So, So Shawn Michaels with the Mexican Donald Trump, Jose Lothario defeats Leif Cassidy with sweet chin music after Marty Jannetty attempts to help his partner win, but Bret Hart intervenes.
Yeah, because Bret Hart comes down. And he's like commentating for the match, like and saying what's gonna happen WrestleMania, and the whole thing is kind of like a full circle kind of thing with the Rockers and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, and while on commentary, Bret says for the 17th time in this WrestleMania season that Shawn is in for the fight of his life. I think that's about all he's said.
Yeah,
and he's like, I'm gonna kick him into the dirt.
Yeah. But it was a lot of rambling. I mean, that's the one thing. Like, I love to watch Bret wrestle. I hate to listen to him talk. I mean, not all the time, but like on the commentating, especially because it's like we want to plug WrestleMania. You're going to talk about what, and we've been watching vignettes for weeks now, and and shitty vignettes, mind you. I don't know what you want to call them. I just call it a vignette.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, so not even good ones. And then we get this, and the best part was when they're face to face. And then you've got Jose the Sock pushing him away, and then it just subsides, and then a shitty Ultimate Warrior plug. I'm like, what the? Come on, man! I'm so tired of these Ultimate Warrior plugs, vignettes.
They're bad.
Did we get Mankind yet?
He is debuting next week, the Raw after WrestleMania 12. He debuts.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah,
so
that's why, Tony, when you originally said next week you were going to talk about WrestleMania, so I was like, oh, please let me on that show, please. And then when you're like, you changed it, I'm like, please let me on the show, please let me on the show, because I so wanted to talk about the WrestleMania, and it's like, if you need me next week, I'm here. If not, I'll be in the chat, brother, as always. You know that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's different. Like I told you guys, I started back in the 80s again, rewatching everything, and to watch the change from the 80s, mid 80s into the 90s into this new era, especially rewatching it now. And then I fast forward because I'm at about 95 on the pay-per-views. matches. I'm just at 95, just finished the Royal Rumble. So I skipped through and watched what we needed to for 96. But I mean, you know, when we started the Raw, the SmackDown, or the retrospective, it was 95. So I've kind of caught up to from where we started. Mm-hmm. And it's just really funny to see how much wrestling legitimately did change, and character building has changed. And even with these shitty shows, we know the good stuff's coming. Like it's right there. We're so close. But I'm so tired of these damn shitty vignette videos of Ultimate Warriors and Bret's and Shawn's, and it's like, oh, good Lord. But then it gets worse because you get Triple H in the ring and he doesn't shut up for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Those promos, those Triple H promos after the 4th or 5th year were pretty tough to get through. So Bret ends up intervening, saving Shawn. They get into each other's face outside of the ring, Bret and Shawn, and they're both wondering why each other's breath smells like Sonny's pussy. Bret.
Well, wait. Was it one was Sonny's pussy, the other one was fucking Pat Patterson's cock?
So Bret says on the mic he's going to punish Shawn on Sunday. He's in for the match of his life. We go to a commercial and we come back to another match. I know, Vince, 2 matches in a row. That's insane. And yeah, I think we did have a vignette somewhere in there, but it's like all the same now, the Ultimate Warrior ones.
Yeah.
So Hunter Hearst Helmsley defeats Aldo Montoya, a.k.a. Just Incredible. In just basically a squash match, trying to make him look good for this Sunday since Warrior wasn't there to participate in any hype. And then Goldust,
I love this,
causes a generation of children to grow up communists by cutting a promo on Roddy Piper's cock, just saying a whole bunch of gay shit, while Pat Patterson uses a turkey baster on himself in front of anyone who was close to catering at the time.
Well, mind you, he did have a mannequin standing there that dressed like Piper, so I mean that was entertaining.
It's like Pat Patterson was the one, they decided to record Diesel in the casket and then splice it over since it was pre-recorded, but Pat Patterson was really pushing for that wax sculpture. He was going to take it home like a slice of birthday cake.
Let me have that.
Oh yeah.
So,
Big Daddy Cool. I'm going to make him.
I was waiting for him to like punch his head off or something.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like in the back alley, especially. Mm-hmm. I mean, well, he probably was going to, but Pat told him, "Don't touch it. I got to use it later."
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard telling.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Goldust cuts this promo and making Roddy Piper feel uncomfortable again, just like he did to Razor. Then they announced, actually, Draven, that Mankind will debut next week.
Okay.
And then The Undertaker with Pallbearer make their way out for a rare in-ring promo. And Pallbearer says there was no doubt Undertaker had Bret Hart beat for the WWF Championship when Diesel interfered a couple months ago. Pallbearer brings up Diesel attacking him when Diesel attacked Pallbearer at ringside. Brought up Diesel destroying Undertaker's casket. But the Undertaker says Diesel has left him no other option. He's not just content with beating and embarrassing Diesel.
Yeah.
Now
it's a promo from Taker.
Yes. He says, "Now, Diesel, you will rest in peace." And he wasn't happy. He was close to Pallbearer at this time. Wasn't happy that Pallbearer was attacked. So we get a final shitty training package of Shawn and Bret getting ready for this Sunday night's Iron Man match. And then we get a lot of matches this week on Raw. Then Ahmed Johnson defeats Owen Hart with Jim Cornette when Vader and Bull, and this is actually the main event. Ahmed Johnson.
And Owen. Ahmed Johnson and Owen the Nugget Hart. So we've got Almond Johnson and the Nugget.
Yeah, and it's just the same thing as a couple weeks ago. Fucking the Cornette guys go in to attack, then Yokozuna and Crackhead run in to make the save, and we're off to WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a weird way to end the go home show to WrestleMania.
I even have, it literally says lame Raw before Mania. Like that was my biggest, even though we got to see the Undertaker, we got to see Triple H, which who gives a shit? Like back then you're like, who the hell, I'm still thinking of these, what was his other name?
The most memorable events are like with Taker. That's really it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had Bret and Shawn face to face, so that was awesome. We got to see Michaels take on, once again, as you said, come full circle with the Rockers, the new Rocker, so it's like, okay. Yep. But really, it was all interviews, a Triple H, so 3 matches. That was it, pre-WrestleMania. And Etep, did you say there wasn't any dark show, right? There wasn't any matches beforehand?
Not on either of these cards. No, on any of the four television shows this week. No, there was no dark matches. WrestleMania had 4 dark matches, but
gotcha. I was wondering because I was like, man, I did a tail of the tape between WrestleMania and the other event. You had more matches than I did, but that explains it because I was like, man, it's 6 and 6, and then gotcha.
That's because these are all taped in what was it, Texas or whatever, where WrestleMania was going to be. So these are all taped prior to WrestleMania.
I think WrestleMania was in the pond in Anaheim.
What was it?
Hang on. WrestleMania that year was it
in the pond?
Yeah,
maybe
Anaheim, Anaheim, California.
Never mind, man.
But the you're right though. The Raws and everything were taped in Texas.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. But and that was the thing because Michaels was from Texas, and yet we barely get him. And then when he's in South Texas, he's there to take. Like that should have been the week prior match. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but like you had said, Tony, they're in his hometown and he's not coming out. That should have been when they did this with Marty Jannetty and Al Snow.
And then they could have hyped him and Bret and given him and Bret an in-ring promo or something the week before WrestleMania. So, and speaking of Anaheim, California, I don't know how many of y'all have been there, but it's a really magical place. It's really nice, and God, one place more magical than Anaheim that I can think of is Huntsville, Alabama, and that's where WCW Nitro is coming from. I don't know. I've never been to Huntsville, I don't think. Weekly winner with a 3.1 rating. Not as big as last week, but still edging out Raw here. And it's the go-home show for WrestleMania as well, and they're edging them out. So not a good look. It's the night after WCW Uncensored, and tonight Ric Flair will defend his heavyweight title against the Giant. Sting and Luger. Nitro brought the heat to go against Raw's go-home show.
Yeah, they did.
Flair and Giant for the title. Sting and Luger will defend the WCW tag titles against the American Males.
American Males. American Males. American Males.
Yeah, man.
Sorry.
Did the American Males win?
No. I love it when you do that though, man. It's because it's one of those shitty theme songs that it sticks in your head.
Okay. Speaking of which, did anybody else notice when Public Enemy came out how bad their theme music was?
Yeah.
That they overdubbed that. They must not have got the rights because they always
too.
They always had the na 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 na. That was theirs.
There's a few things over it, like Jericho's was very similar to Even Flow from Pearl Jam, and then DDP was similar to Smells Like Teen Spirit, and they overdubbed theirs too. That's what I was saying. Like I don't know if Lex Luger's music is dubbed or if it was just a copyright-free song, but Lex Luger's theme music in WCW is the same music they play for the WWF hotline on the little segments on Raw.
I picked that up on the last episode. I was like, why is they playing the Total Package theme? I'm like,
and Tony has mentioned it too. So, we do implant those things in your head.
Yep.
But I think that's what it was, though. I think it was like, oh, Lex, you think you're so badass and you left here and you asked to leave. So we're going to take the free music that anybody can use and we're going to put it on the hotline because F you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
I'm going to start using that in my videos.
Hell yeah. I
Because
mean,
I already used the Nitro and the Thunder themes like as talk bed music, so why not use that?
But I mean, we have a strong, because like I watched the pay-per-view and it was good. I got notes on it, but it's up there. But I mean, to start off the show with Savage and the Belfast Bruiser, which was what, AKA Fit Finlay.
Yeah, it's Fit Finlay.
So yeah, I mean, it's literally, that's a hell of a way to start the show. Like, and right there, that match alone to me was better than the matches we got on Raw. So like, they're already beating Raw with one match with the opener.
Yeah.
And we actually get to see Kimberly Page as the booty babe right now, and boy, it looks a little chilly in that arena.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. But I will say I love the 1-800-COLLECT replay. I'm not gonna lie, I even got notes on that on here. I was like, and the 1-800-COLLECT replay.
She just came down and smacked Brutus Beefcake's ass.
Mm-hmm. Well, the pay-per-view was funny because, like, DDP, remember, he's down on his luck. He spent half the money. If he wins, he gets the Diamond Babe back, and he gets his career's on the line, right? So that's the whole gimmick, because he comes out looking like shit in the pay-per-view. And, like, he grabs her and kisses her, and she kisses him, and then Booty Man beats his ass in 1, 2, 3 and wins her, basically. So he basically wins her, so now she's the Booty Babe instead of the Diamond Dallas's Diamond Gal. So that's, so yeah.
Dude, I was so
happy. I'm a
Paige
to see, fan, but that was so lame.
I was happy to see her in Playboy.
What was that wrestling movie she was in, and her tits were, like, completely out almost? It was one of those.
She's in 40-Year-Old Virgin as well. During the speed dating, yeah.
Oh shit, she was.
And her tits out.
Yeah, Kimberly was awesome.
There was some crazy movie where they're in like a house being towed behind, and somehow somebody bounces in the house, and like she gets up and like her tits are just all there, and she's wearing a bra and whatnot. But damn, I don't know if I've got that Playboy. Now I'm gonna have to go look. Damn it, Etep. Thought I did, but I might be wrong. But yeah, man, I don't know. I love seeing Savage. I'm a huge Savage fan. Etep can do the voice great. And again, that first match to me killed everything that Raw did. And it's not just because it was Savage; it was a way better match.
Yeah, more exciting. It makes you wonder where WWF is coming from trying to bag on Macho Man, because he's still better than 90% of their roster.
Yeah,
so,
Vince even made a point to say at one point, he was like, "No over the hill club here."
Yeah.
During the beginning of this week's Raw. Yeah, no over the hill gang here, just the best, professional wrestler or whatever. I'm like, man, them old guys are putting on way better shows, bud. I don't know what you're talking about.
So, yeah, that's how the night starts. Macho Man defeats the Belfast Bruiser with an elbow drop. Mean Gene interviews the WCW World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair with, of course, Woman and Miss Elizabeth. And Miss Elizabeth is walking around with half of Macho Man's money. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Flair says tonight they will slay a walking, talking, fire-breathing giant. Flair sings that he's got the whole world in his hands, and Mean Gene mentions Flair getting knocked out at Uncensored by Lex Luger. Flair says he's been too busy, just flying too high for Luger to show up on his radar, but now Luger is on the long list of people who don't get to style and profile with the Nature Boy. So we get our first of 3 championship matches tonight. The U.S. Heavyweight Championship. Conan, the champion, defeats Mr. JL to retain his title. He still has the tassels on. I find it stereotypical.
At least he's not Max Moon.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of
spaceman.
True. It kind of proves Bret's comments ripping on Shawn, though, right? Because even in the pay-per-view for WCW, he took on Guerrero. It was Eddie and Conan, right? And Bret was kind of ripping on Mexican wrestlers just a skosh, about their style, because that's Shawn's style. So that's kind of where I was like, I was like, well, yeah, because you watch those matches and you're just kind of like, I mean, they're good match to an extent, but then you're just like, oh, wow, okay. I kind of see Bret's point. I see it and I don't see it, kind of a catch-22 style there.
Yes.
But yeah, overall, it was good to see Konnan again. I mean, I'd kind of forgotten about him. I forgot he was the U.S. champ.
Yeah, and the Mexican heavyweight champion.
Yep.
So then we get Booty Man, who defeated DDP last night in Uncensored, and tonight he defeats Disco Inferno and leaves with Mrs. Booty, Kimberly Page. And God, she looks good back then. This is even before Nitro Girl days.
Yep.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Next up is championship match number 2, the WCW Tag Team Championship. Lex Luger and Sting defeat the American Males when Sting pins Riggs. And throughout the match, Sting was getting perturbed. First Lex Luger was cheating and Sting didn't notice. And then he did notice and was like, what is that, bro? Now Lex Luger is, just beating Marcus Bagwell like he owes him fucking money. Making it real personal when it doesn't
Where's my
have
money,
to
man?
be.
Yeah,
And
Stewie and Brian, man. You got my money yet? You got money for fake mustaches, but you ain't got my money?
You make a fool of me,
Where's
man.
my money?
So, yeah, Lex Luger is kicking his ass, and then Sting goes in there. He looks at him like the up-and-comers, so he does end up making the pin on Riggs. And then Lex Luger tries to leave with both titles.
Yeah, he was carrying him around at the beginning of the show last week when he worked that match against the Pork Chop, Loch Ness.
Well, he had his TV title and he had his tag title though. He had the two. But this time, he tried to gaffle Sting's tag. Like Lex had all 3 belts. It's like, wait a minute, give me my belt back, bitch.
So, and Sting's in the ring, making sure the guys are okay. The opponents raises the American Male's hands with his, and trying to show solidarity after Luger pulled those heelish tactics. He was a bit aggressive and out of line. So, which is
re-education.
Yeah.
Well, Sting's face though, that's been his whole gimmick, right? It's like you can't trust him. You can't trust WWF to WCW. Can't Savage's exact words. I don't trust him.
Still, that takes a certain amount of talent to be too aggressive in a championship match, where you'd think if there's nowhere else, you couldn't be too aggressive. But Lex Luger pulled it off. He really came off like an asshole in this match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
he was just acting like himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go out there, do some coke, and do what you normally do. All right. Oof. That's what it is. That's his coke face, man. That's why he's always making all kinds of, he does that line of coke. There you go.
Yeah. He was beating Marcus Bagwell like he was Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah.
So, our main event match for the evening, and this one had me excited. The WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Ric Flair defends against the Giant. Draven, you didn't see this?
Nope.
Who wins? Who wins, Draven?
Giant versus Ric. You said Ric Flair?
Ric Flair defending his heavyweight championship against the Giant.
Oh, Ric Flair fucking wins.
You would be wrong.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Ric Flair versus the Giant ends in a no contest.
No.
Remember, it's WCW main event.
That's right.
Yeah, when you're doing thinking there's going to be a finish, dude.
I think this is the first time they wrestled on TV. Either way, it was interesting. And it had you thinking, because Flair was always, smaller than Hogan. And you see how Giant was dominating and throwing Hogan around. It's like, okay, how's Flair going to pull this off? And they had some great comedy moments. The crowd laughed. At one point where Flair gets Giant in the corner and smacks him chops him. he chops, there we go, I found the word. He chops Giant in the corner and Giant just no-sells it and looks at Flair, and Flair just kind of looks hopeless and then just drops to his knees and classic Flair style, and the way it happened, it was funny. Like the crowd audibly laughed at that. It was
Nice.
well done on both of their parts, and especially the Giant, considering he is still green.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's green as fuck here.
He
That
came
top
off
rope?
that top rope hard.
Yeah, that
Yep.
top. What I mean, was he going for a splash, an elbow? I don't know. I mean, like I don't know. Because he landed on his side when he landed.
Yeah, he went up to the top rope. Fucking
Oh,
got out of the
shit.
way.
I just watched it.
Yeah,
Like, I've got the match on right now.
like I don't know what he was, because at first I thought it was going to be a splash, right? I'm like, oh,
Dude,
okay, but he lands on his side.
He cleared 3/4, probably like 15/16 of the ring. That's what I liked about him in WCW. He was so athletic and mobile. Dude could throw a drop kick, and I'm just like, that's what I liked about the big men over in WCW. Like, most of them could move.
Yeah.
You know,
So that's what you liked about the big men, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that, and they can pick up furniture. And get
yeah. It
stuff
makes
off the
moving
top
easier,
shelf.
bro. Yeah.
Trust me. But no, like, he was very mobile, and it was a big contrast in styles between him and Flair in that match. Like I said, I just put it on now, and Flair's choking him out outside the ring while Elizabeth's got Randy Anderson distracted. I remember when the Fed fired Randy Anderson, they made a storyline out of it.
I thought it was funny to see Miss Elizabeth kind of be a bad girl in this match. You know, pull that villain role out of, the princess role to the villain or heel, if you will. I did enjoy that. Yeah, man, it's kind of fun to see characters that you've seen one way go the other. And I mean, it doesn't always pay off. Like I think I liked Savage more as a heel back in the Intercontinental days.
Hey, wait, I'm sorry, Adam. Look, the bot in the chat's name was Daisy Elliott.
Daisy Elliott. That's funny.
There's a bot. I got him.
Bot killer, you.
Hang on a second. I hit him with my gun.
What's that?
What's that? It's right here. Hang on. I gotta make sure I got good trigger discipline when I'm on camera with it. But I was like, take that, bot.
Heck yeah.
Break yourself, bot.
We should have left it in. It's like the only thing going in the chat right now.
I'm Billionaire
It's like,
Ted.
can't you bring some of your bot friends?
Listen, come back, Daisy. I'll unblock you on channel.
We need more bots.
Oh man, he's setting up for the choke slam. And Flair's like, "Oh my god, don't do it!"
Yeah.
No.
I
this
like
part
it, though.
could have
Yeah, it
very
looked good.
easily been overbooked, and they pulled it off just right. They could have very easily botched this part.
Because with the whole what happens with the chair thing, like, and talk about controversy, right? Because you're supposed to have the Horsemen and the Dungeon together. And like this could massively, you would think, especially watching it, you're like, ooh, man, that just might be the one thing that pulls them apart, especially after the Flair versus Giant, because he's still part of the Dungeon of Doom.
Sullivan hit him with the chair.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Arn hit him with the chair, and then Sullivan took the chair.
Yeah. But thinks,
but Giant thinks, yeah, exactly, like you said, that Sullivan hit him with the chair. So yeah, man, that's that whole controversy makes great ratings.
Choke slamming at Arn.
Yep. Arn's taking the choke slam right now.
Yep.
Here goes Baldy.
Jimmy Hart's all like fucking.
I wonder how much Jimmy Hart spent to get those ridiculous suits made.
I don't know.
Like I was always wondering. I was like, holy shit! How much does it cost to have a suit? Why would you want a suit with another man's face on it?
It just so happens to have Giant on it.
Well, man, in the same aspect, why would you want another man's face in your crotch area, like Rick Rude style?
Rick Rude.
Your tights.
Whose girl did he do that to?
The Snake, his wife.
Yeah.
His wife.
Jesus. So Giant, this ends in a no contest.
Yeah.
Giant just chokeslammed everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They should have brought up.
To me, it should have been a no contest. It was just like, hey, look, he chokeslammed Flair, took care of the people that were coming out and messing shit up, and he should have just pinned it. But of course, again, like Monday night, not a pay-per-view. But it was nice to see Big Show, younger, more
He's so much better as the
Oh
giant.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I was thinking about this the other day. I was playing Trey and I were playing what is that? WCW Revenge. And he was the giant, and I'm like, yeah, dude, this was the best time in his career. He's like, I'm gonna go to WWF and be a big star and make all the, and you're a joke.
Yep.
Like, yeah, that was one
He
of
came
the.
from WCW. That was his biggest mistake.
He wasn't one of Vince's creations, so Vince did not give a shit about him.
Mm-hmm.
It was like playing with somebody else's toy.
Yep.
Well, and you got to remember too. Look at all the health issues he had after he went into WWF or WWE. I think at that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was WWE. Well, it was WWF still.
Right. Yeah, and then we were right in that change time frame because he was taking on Big Boss Man and the bit with his dad and all that. And then he had that surgery. I think he had glands removed. I can't remember now. But which slowed him down in his mobility, and he gained weight and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, and it really sucked because back in the WCW days, there wasn't much that man couldn't do. Like you said, the drop kicks. No. Hell of a guy. I still love the choke slam where he goes down to his knees versus
that's the best one. That's the best version of the choke slam.
No, like he'd probably be dead right now if they didn't learn how to treat giantism because it's an overactive pituitary gland, and they figured out how to like block that. But like he's lucky he's only had the health problems that he has had,
Yeah.
But then also Andre didn't treat himself very well. He didn't take care of himself, and that probably contributed to his death just as much as the giantism, So
True.
WrestleMania 12 from the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim. Again, not many matches. Like we had Owen, Bulldog, Vader with Cornette versus Yokozuna, Jake the Snake Roberts, and Ahmed Johnson. And if Yoko, Jake, and Ahmed win, Yokozuna gets 3 minutes alone with Jim Cornette.
Pat Patterson, wet dream, baby.
Draven. Who wins this match?
Yokozuna and them?
Wrong. Jim Cornette gets away.
God damn.
I know, right?
I was hoping for fucking him to get squashed.
I could have sworn I remembered him. I remembered Yokozuna getting 3 minutes on with Cornette, and I guess not.
You forgot the first. They had a dark match for the WWF vacant tag team titles. The Body Donnas, Skip and Zip with Sonny, that whore, beat the Godwins, Henry O and Phineas Godwin.
Ooh, but whose breath, shot in the mouth breath does she have? Is it Bret or is it Sean's?
Well, at that point she was banging Skip.
Think about WWF's tag division right now, and then think about what we're seeing on WCW, Public Enemy,
I can't
Nasty
even think
Boys,
of what
Road
WWF
Warriors,
things are now.
Steiners, Sting and Luger. Like
it was Michaels and Diesel had the tag championships there for a minute, and then they lost it, and I'm not sure who picked it up after that. I think that's why it's vacated.
Yeah.
They have RK Bro and who else is tags in WWF?
By today's standards, I couldn't even tell you.
No.
I just know RK Bro, that's it.
I'm amazed Triple H and Shawn haven't come out of retirement and become tag champions, but it is what it is. I don't know. I haven't watched current product in a long time.
Well, Hardy Boys might be getting back together in AEW.
That'd be nice. I saw the interview that Jeff did with Stone Cold. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Even he had mentioned, because it'd be nice.
They want to end their careers the way they came in.
Dude, I'm okay with that. Like I was
high as fuck and skinny.
Well, I mean, dude, when they came back, what was it? 2018, I think they came back together and hit WWE. Like it was good.
Yeah, WrestleMania they came back. New Day
nice
introduced them.
Yeah, it was good to see him for that little bit of a run. But yeah, I mean, even if it's in AEW, like I don't care. They could be at TNA. I don't care. Just to see them together again, that'd be great.
They can job out to Nyla Rose in a handicap match.
Dude, speaking of women's division, Tay Conte and the one chick that she teams up with, I think is Jay something, fought the Bunny and Penelope the other day in a street fight. Dude, that was fucking bloody and all kind. They used thumbtacks, everything.
Nice. That's not normal.
No, it isn't.
No,
and they did a suplex to her was it the Bunny? Yeah, to Bunny on a steel chair that was open, like setting up, and they put her through. Yeah.
Ouch. I bet that still hurt less than Jake the Snake taking the Vader bomb at his age.
And then Tay did her finisher to the other girl through a table that was ringside.
Nice. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen women fucking destroy each other like that. Like, I don't think ever.
That usually happens
since MMA, like literally the women's league in MMA, I think would be the closest. And granted, we're talking wrestling, but like that.
Watch the Japanese women's wrestling. Them bitches are they're fucking crazy. Those oh dude, those bitches are crazy. That's the closest thing you'd get to something like that would be from Japan, because they work strong style.
The one, the Asian wrestler over that had like the face paint and shit. I forget her name.
Asuka.
They brought her. She used to fight men and stuff over in Japan.
Yeah,
and they bring her over here and like kind of like
they made a joke out of her.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what the hell?
When they brought her into NXT, they made a big deal about it, because I remember they were putting her over on Dana Brooke. I used to love Dana Brooke, and they were putting her over on Dana Brooke all the time, and I'm like, this chick can work, you know.
Yeah.
Like and then they move her to the main roster, and she's a joke. I'm like,
that's what they did with all their NXT people.
Yep. Because I would just watch the highlights on like What Culture and shit like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like you just see her getting jobbed out. It's like, why are you doing this to your roster? Somebody that you can build an entire division around, and you're just like wrecking. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, Tony, there weren't a lot of high matches really for the WrestleMania, but we did have a lot of firsts, because you got the first pay-per-view where they're calling Austin Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Nice.
You've got the first time with Hunter Hearst Helmsley coming out with Sable. And then, of course, we've got, Diesel and The Undertaker, big match, and
the first Hollywood Backlot Brawl, where this starts as the second match, but it continues on throughout the show.
Yep.
As Roddy Piper and Goldust go on a drive around LA, or Southern California, I should say. While that's going on, we do get the ringmaster Stone Cold Steve Austin with the $1 Million Man. Okay, so him and Savio Vega kind of went to a was it a count out a week or two ago? Either way, there was some unsolved tension there. They kept fighting after the match. Savio ends up throwing Steve Austin out of the ring. But yeah, Steve Austin shows up to WrestleMania. He's got the goatee now. He's got the bald head. He even took off the white boots with the black star, and now he's got the black boots on. And I mean, he looks like Stone Cold Steve Austin. And man, he beat the shit out of Savio Vega, and fucking his finisher right now is the $1 Million Dream. He puts Savio in that till Savio's done. Ref calls for the bell, and Austin won't let him out of it. He just keeps his ass in there for like 5 minutes, just choking that motherfucker out. And good. Fuck Savio Vega.
He was always just fucking annoying.
I
never liked him.
The name Savio Vega is like something, every time I read it, it's in Vince's voice.
Yeah.
Savio Vega.
Savio Vega.
We had the street match between him, Piper, and Goldust before that match.
Yeah, the back, because they start it, but then it continues throughout. Like you get it, jump in the car and take off and all that shit.
Yeah, so they're on the road right now. Piper's chasing Goldust. Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, comes out with a very familiar face. The first appearance of Sable. And I saw her and I'm like, okay, so Johnny B. Bad's been on all the dark matches lately. Then he lost the title to Lex Luger. He must be WWF bound soon because that's his fucking wife.
Yep.
She escorts Triple H out, who was squashed by the Ultimate Warrior.
Yep.
But then I'm thinking that, and then there's Johnny B. Bad, Mr. Mark Merrow, making his debut in the WWF. He cuts a promo. He wants to see how high he can make it here, which wasn't very far. And yeah, so Mark Merrow's in the WWF now. And next we get probably my favorite match of the card. The Undertaker with Pallbearer defeats Diesel. But for a big guy match, this was a good match.
And it was one of the longest matches I think Taker had in a WrestleMania or even a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Diesel underestimated Taker. He thought he had Taker put away a few times. He'd turn around and Taker was on his feet, staring him down. The Taker finally puts him away. And then we get the conclusion to Roddy Piper and Goldust. I don't even fucking remember. Roddy, I just remember him being in the ring. I think Roddy Piper fucking
stripped him down, and he was in a thong girl's teddy, and that was pretty much, Marlena covers up his ass because none of us want to see Dustin's ass. Yeah.
Yes. So,
well, I mean, other than Pat Patterson, that's why she ran right behind him, was covering up because don't bend over, Pat's looking, and he's going like this.
So next is the 60-minute Iron Man match for the WWF Championship, and I have a bone to pick with this match because they wrestle off for 60 minutes. Champion Bret Hart defending against challenger Shawn Michaels. After the 60 minutes is up, the 60 minutes ends. Bret Hart takes his title, starts walking to the back. Gorilla Monsoon says, no, there must be a winner. There must be a winner. Instant death. There was a winner.
Yeah.
Bret, it's the challenger's job to beat the champion. And Shawn Michaels had 60 minutes, an entire hour, to beat the champion, and he couldn't do it. And not only could he not do it, that match literally ended with Shawn Michaels in the fucking sharpshooter where he had been for a good 20 seconds. He was decisively beaten. His time limit expired. It may not be very exciting, but Bret Hart indeed won that match.
Yeah. I mean, I remember afterwards, especially like the upcoming Raws and stuff, I think we'll get interviews where he's like, well, if we're going to restart the match, he should have been back in the sharpshooter. And that's hard logic to argue with. My main I remember watching it back in the day. And then when I was rewatching it this time, that's that pre-shot when I was talking with you guys before the show where it was like, hey, the thing I noticed is like for 20 minutes, we've got headlocks and shit. And I mean, that's like, for anybody that's a wrestler, it's not like an hour match hasn't been heard of. Back in the territory days, Flair would go for an hour plus.
Yep.
When you go back old school wrestling.
Him and Steamboat.
Yeah.
Oh shit, dude. Steamboat bring the house down with him.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that was kind of that question. Etep would be like, all right, so it's like you've got an hour. And I just feel that, I mean, maybe it's just because we're right in that new age era where it's more building character and a little less wrestling. But it's like, to me, for an hour-long match, like the first 20 minutes is nothing but headlocks and rolling around. If I want to watch that, I'm going to go watch the Olympic-style wrestling, right? Like, that's my opinion. And then you start getting, when you've got about 40 minutes left, they're picking up the pace. And then it felt like they rushed it there at the end a little bit. And I mean, I don't know. That's just me as a fan watching it. Because I've watched it. I watched it the last 2 hours pre-show. I watched it and then rewound it and rewatched it.
I'm not saying that Shawn Michaels shouldn't have won this match. He should have. He had all the momentum going in. Fans had waited a long time.
Yeah, and he lost the Intercontinental, so he didn't against Bret because he tried to do Bret's move and it didn't work. You know what I mean? And they've had that heat throughout that time frame up till now. And you got Bret going, oh, well, I he's not my best friend, but he's a friend. I respect him, blah, 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 blah. And then, I like it. Yeah, but it is kind of a hard one to sell when you're beat in the center of the ring. You didn't beat the champion. And now, and again, I'm sure this is all part of the shoot in the first place, right? Like, that's the whole thing. That's the whole point. Controversy.
This is the beginning of what will become their controversy. And, like I was saying, I don't think Bret should have won this match. But they were attempting to make both guys look strong coming out of this match. And instead, they just gave Shawn a tainted victory, in my opinion, and made it look like Bret was screwed. And it just was a very convoluted ending to WrestleMania. They should have just had Shawn Michaels get that one and only pinfall of the entire match as the clock was winding down. And they just, less is more, just keep it simple. Because they ended up making Shawn look weak. He was going to lose that match. He was stuck in a sharpshooter with nowhere to fucking go. Just dead in the center of the ring when the clock expired.
I think even a high cross body switch, you roll over, and then all of a sudden that's how he doesn't even got to hit sweet chin music. He doesn't have to tap to the sharpshooter, but something along those lines of because as much technicality as they put into this match with the guys, especially with the headlocks and the rolls overs and the Jericho's wrist locks and all that, at the end of the day, I think that would have been an okay. That's how Shawn got the win, especially there towards the end. I mean, granted, they went the other way with the sharpshooter, and they didn't even think about maybe he somehow learned a way out of it by rolling him, sideways and getting the pin somehow. But yeah, I mean, even that would have been okay, in my opinion, from how, like you're saying, he doesn't have to be super strong, either one of them. They don't have to be bitches either, though. But just a quick reversal, a perfect plex, whatever, boom, shoulders down.
I think you should have just nailed him with the sweet chin music, a real hard one. Maybe Bret's dominating the entire match, and then he makes a single mistake, which allows Shawn Michaels to hit it. But this is Shawn's time. He needed to win decisively. He needed to win strong, and they could have done it other ways with making Bret look strong. Again, Bret could have dominated through the majority of the match and then just makes one error. They could have just really played up how much of a tactician he is. And as good as Shawn Michaels is, Bret is just a veteran and he knows. And, they could have even that would have been the best ending. Bret makes one tactical error that gives Shawn Michaels an opportunity to win the title.
Well,
the way they did it was, again, convoluted, and I really think it didn't age well when you go back and watch it. So that's my big gripe about WrestleMania, because that's why Undertaker and Diesel is my favorite match. So,
oh yeah. Well, I mean, they even brought up the fact. Bret even says Shawn's a little bit younger, he's a little bit faster. So there you go. It's set up for you. So I could see that, especially now, especially after rewatching it. Because I mean, back in the day, like I remember watching it, and of course, this is back on the day with VHS tape. So you'd get the pay-per-view and you'd allegedly record it on VHS so you could watch it later or watch it with your buddies that couldn't make it or any of that kind of stuff. So I remember rewatching it allegedly on a VHS tape, possibly. And you'd hear funny things like where you hear Shawn say, "Get the fuck out of the way," or I mean, the sweet chin music on to the fella in the chair, the timekeeper, was pretty funny when Bret got out the way.
Oh, and kicked him right in the fucking mouth.
Like he domed that mofo, like, and you heard it too. Like that was a legit. It's like, oh shit, I hope that dude's okay.
Yep. So overall, not a very exciting WrestleMania. No big like heel turns. Not much surprises. I guess it meant something to some people to see the Warrior, but I've never been the biggest fan.
Nope.
Botched main event, and they'll never play it out that way. The 60-minute Iron Man match, but that was a botched ending, and it didn't have to be that way, especially at the biggest show of the year. No excuses.
Yeah. So, on your Super Bowl, you screw up the main event.
Yeah, overbook it.
I'm thankful though, because then the video games had the Iron Man match shortly after this, which made it more fun because you could just literally go in there and beat the shit out of them, get their body all red. Then it didn't matter. You put them in a submission, slam down, pin up, like that stuff was fun.
Fucking murder them.
Yeah,
like 10 minutes into the hour-long Iron Man match, and they're already like stumbling around completely red. Yeah.
So I'm thankful for that. But yeah, again, after rewatching it,
and they have like none.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So hell yeah, good times. Not the best WrestleMania, but WrestleMania 14, that's a good one. See, WrestleMania, they like WrestleMania 9 through 13 really weren't that good.
10 was okay. I mean, you had a lot of matches in 10, and you had, Bret versus Owen, which I didn't suspect seeing Owen win, but he did. And quite a few other good matches. But yeah, again, it's kind of, that was still that era where everything was changing wrestling wise too. So I think they were still trying to find their footing, because you had Razor Ramon, who started off bad, then they turned him, from heel to babyface, and that played out pretty well. Then you had him against Diesel, which was one of the matches I just watched. 94 Survivor Series or SummerSlam, and with Walter Payton, right? So it's like, okay, and it's just amazing that as big as Hall is, Nash is even bigger, when he's just like slamming him with the elbow. And it's like, well, for a guy that's like 7 foot plus, yeah, that makes sense. You would just dominate a little or two, even if it's, I'm 6 foot, Etep's 6'3", 6'4", whatever, so he's got that little bit more on me. But yeah, it was just interesting to rewatch this stuff again. And I don't know, I'm a little bit more picky now as I've gotten older, it's like, well, but again, we've got awesome stuff on the way.
Yeah.
And again, I'm sorry, but Uncensored to me was a way better pay-per-view with the matches that we have.
Yeah, WCW is better all around. And, things are going to pick up. Like 96 is still a bit of a weird year. SummerSlam, we're going to have Shawn Michaels and Vader, which I'm not too big on. But things really, 1997 is a pretty good year for WWF. And the 98 is one of my favorite years. Probably shouldn't be, but it is.
Yeah.
And then it just picks up from there until Triple H starts really politicking around 2001 and nosedives everything. Just cuts the coolness factor right off of the product.
But yeah, so that was WrestleMania. So, that, I don't know. I think we've had some weaker ones, but this one's right up there with the rest of them, dude. I really do believe that.
Which you're saying 12?
Yeah, the one we just watched. I mean, like you were saying, there's X amount of them. Because like for me, even going back to WrestleMania 2, where it was in 3 places, like I know it was a new kind of a thing. It was kind of like, eh. And then once you get past, what was it, WrestleMania 5, which is when Warrior took over, they kind of went downhill, and then Slaughter had the belt, then it's back with the Hogan, and then
Slaughter having the belt. Oh my god!
Yeah, it was the purple strap, and he was bad Slaughter. And then Yoko gets the belt, and with Bret, and then Hogan takes it, and then it just ends up back to Bret, and then we end up to. So I mean, it's not like it's the first time we've had a lame WrestleMania. Well, I don't know, it was pretty freaking lame. It just, I don't know, it doesn't really compare to what WCW is putting out. But then again, maybe that's why WCW was so good, because they saw what their competition was. Even with the pay-per-view being like a week prior, you pretty much knew what was coming up in the events. I mean, you didn't know which way it was going to go, but you knew, hey, these are the matches that they're going to have. We've got a 6-man tag, you know, so it's like, oh, all right, into the backroom brawl or the Hollywood brawl, into, you know, again, Triple H and the Ultimate Warrior, who we hadn't seen in what, like 10 years. So I don't know. It just, I think you're right though. I think without a doubt, the best match on that card was Undertaker versus Diesel. And again, I think that's the longest, you know, if you want to go with a stopwatch and figure it out, all the more power to you. But I'd put $1 on it, Duke's bet, that is one of the longest pay-per-view matches at this point that the Undertaker has had. And it was a hell of a good match.
Yeah, it was.
Big man.
So, guys, I gotta go eat dinner.
All right, brother.
All right.
Fucking awesome stream tonight. Thank you all.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Thank you for letting me come. I've been so excited for WrestleMania 12 just to have the conversation, man, because it's been eating me up for a long time too. It's like, man, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this was a blast.
Hail Greg Levitri. I gotta quit smoking during the shows. Hail Greg Levitri. No issues, man. We're about to sign off, but it was a great episode. We're talking a little WrestleMania 12 and the build up to. Yeah, everything.
We'll go over Uncensored next week, man.
Yeah, we can do that. So, did you have anything you wanted to promote, Etep?
Yeah, we have Going Rogue tomorrow night. It's new start time for the new year, 9 p.m. Eastern. 6 p.m. Pacific will be starting till 11 o'clock. Will be directly followed by My Bad, hosted by Ashley, over one of our fellow rogues over there. So check that out right after you watch us. And I think, I'm not sure if the dump is on for tomorrow or not. Depends on how Scotty's feeling, but hope him and the family feel better. They had a touch of the old beer bug, so yeah, hope he feels better. And I'll have
soon.
I don't have time to do a video because I have to teach tomorrow. So yeah, they'll tune into the live show tomorrow night. Guests are TB and D, so we'll keep you posted on that.
I can be there if you need me.
Yeah, man, come on.
Right.
And I gotta open it up to some of the other rogues, but yeah, man, because it's Rogue Week. But yeah, we booked Draven. We got Draven on.
There you go.
And there we go. It's a
there
show.
You go.
Bam.
Look, I'd offer, but I was on Monday, and I'm good, man. I'm just gonna be in the chat this Wednesday because I've got digital pollution. So no offense.
All right. No, none taken.
If you need me, you know I'm always around for any of you guys. Though y'all know that.
Yes, sir. Thank you all.
I just got the Twitch. Go over there, follow that. If you're not already over here on YouTube, follow here or subscribe here. And that's pretty much it for now.
Sweet, man. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, guys. Again, thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to go have me some frozen pizza because that's how we do it on Tuesday nights. Thank you all. Fucking happy New Year and happy Kwanzaa.
You